Welcome to 5 Ways AP Departments Can Offset Recession Impacts, brought to you by the Controllers Council. My name is Neil Brown, Executive Director of the Controllers Council, and before I introduce our speakers, allow me to share some brief housekeeping items. First, use the GoToWebinar control panel to ask our experts questions. Next, we'll have 3 polling questions, so again, please use your GoToWebinar control panel to vote and benchmark your peers. And finally, you'll receive a link to this webcast via email in the next 24 hours, so no need for notes or screenshots. With that, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Avid Exchange, a leader in automating invoice, payment, and AP processes. A fintech unicorn, Avid Exchange processes more than 140 billion in transactions annually with 1,500 employees and 6,000 customers. So with that, allow me to introduce our subject matter experts, Rhonda Green and Michelle Retzbach. Rhonda is a certified accounts payable solutions consultant, or APSC, and principal solutions consultant for Avid Exchange. She brings more than 25 years of experience to help companies streamline AP. I think she started when she was in her teens. Just kidding, Rhonda. Michelle is a senior solutions consultant for Avid Exchange and specializes in helping companies create efficiencies in AP processes through automation and best practices. She has expertise in construction and real estate, and she joined Avid Exchange in 2016. Welcome, Rhonda and Michelle.
Thank you, Neil. And yes, you're absolutely right. I was in my teens.
All right, well, I'm going to turn it over to you for the agenda.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. So today we're going to talk about looming economic challenges that we're facing, the state of play for accounts payable, 5 ways AP departments can offset impacts, AP automation with Avid Exchange, and as Neil mentioned, if you have any questions, please put them in the questions box and we'll be happy to answer them at the end of the webinar. So let's get started. So looming economic challenges, I think we're all still, recovering from the pandemic somewhat. I know that with that, we saw a big shift of more and more businesses looking to automate accounts payable as a result, and especially because, more companies have taken on that kind of hybrid part-time working in the office, part-time working remote from home kind of mindset. So to understand how businesses are preparing for a potential recession, we surveyed 500 finance professionals at middle market companies back in August, and these are some of the things that we found. 88% of respondents are concerned about the current state of the economy. 70% of respondents said their company is adjusting its budget over the next 12 months. And 30% said they're preparing for the forecasted recession by reducing or eliminating office space. And these are definitely things that we hear when we're out talking to our peers in different industries. So where are businesses refocusing resources? A third, or 34% of respondents, said their company is actually decreasing their budget for overhead costs, so things like rent and utilities. And again, with the new hybrid remote work from home type environment, we're definitely seeing and hearing from folks that we work with that rent is being impacted because more and more companies are downsizing. They don't feel the need to have large office spaces any longer. 66% said creating efficiencies is a high priority for their business over the next 12 months. And 72% said growing the business is a high priority over the next 12 months, which makes perfect sense. 30% of the respondents said they're actually preparing for the forecasted recession by investing in technology to increase their business efficiencies. So things like AP automation, AR automation, if not already payroll automation. 30% said of digital transformation projects that their company is prioritizing to be able, these automation technologies, to be able to streamline their internal processes. 40% said their business is increasing its budget for technology over the next year, and that's more than sales, human resources, or marketing. So according to the NCMM, the National Center for the Middle Market, an equal number of firms say inflation has had a positive impact, 39%, as those who cited an overall negative impact, also 39%. It simply came down to a survive versus thrive mindset around price hikes and wage increases. While some are telling us inflation has forced us to raise prices because we must, pay employees more and maintain revenue. So how do we cope? Others are telling us that inflation allows us to raise prices, pay higher wages, provide better services, and sustain growth. But how do we use this to win? Much like the pandemic accelerated the move to hybrid and remote work models, record inflation caused by supply chain issues is pushing prices to levels businesses imagined would be years away. And much like the businesses who delayed digital transformation in the wake of COVID, those fighting the reality of increased costs could struggle to compete with those that are adapting to circumstances out of their control. So forward-thinking firms who understand the reality that we're all facing are indeed raising prices and passing costs on to customers. But it's not to simply sustain revenues for the sake of sustaining revenues. These companies are using still growing profits to, do things like pay higher wages that attract and retain top talent in an extremely competitive labor marketplace. Also, investing in digital transformation projects that, as mentioned, increase efficiency and offset those higher labor costs, and developing higher quality products and services worthy of a higher price.